Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my February TBR. The TBR jar is back again to help me select my reads for the month. With Valentine's Day coming up and February being the month of love, I'm definitely in a very romancy mood, so that's probably going to be the top genre that I'm picking today. I also did haul quite a few books in January. There were some new releases that I pre-ordered that I got, and then I just did a few book shopping trips where I spent like Christmas money, gift cards. So there are quite a few new additions to the cart that I'm also very excited about. So those are the things that are kind of going to be in the back of my mind as I'm selecting prompts today and trying to decide what I want to read. With that, I'm planning on pulling 8 prompts today, so let's jump right in. Prompt number 1 for the month of February is a book with a couple on the cover. That's perfect because I feel like almost every romance book has a couple on the cover. The ones on my radar and at the top of my list for February are Heartstopper Volume 3, Nick and Charlie, obviously a couple on the cover. This one I really wanted to continue on in February because I know in book 3 they go on a field trip to Paris, which sounds perfect for Valentine's Day, and I cannot get enough of Nick and Charlie. They are just the cutest. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata is also on my radar for like a winter romance, and it does have a couple on the cover. I believe the setting of this takes place in like the snowy mountains in Colorado, so in my mind I've always wanted to save this for the winter time. So this one is definitely a good option. Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood has a couple on the cover. This one too has been on my radar for Valentine's Day because the cover is giving all the Valentine's vibes. And I also got this book last year as a gift for Valentine's Day. We did like a book exchange with my book club for Valentine's. So in my mind, I've always wanted to read this for Valentine's Day. Definitely a good option. The Favorites by Lane Fargo has a couple on the cover. It is an ice skating duo, and oh my gosh, this book sounds like everything and more. This is kind of a 5-star prediction for me. It's a new release. It came out a few weeks ago, and it is top of my list for books that I need to have on my February TBR. This is definitely a good option. This book just has all of my favorite tropes in it, and I really feel like I'm gonna love it. So we have a lot of good options already. I'm gonna do one more glance, but I feel like those books were for sure in my mind as books I wanted on the February TBR. We do have some good options on this side though. The Love Wager by Lynn Painter feels very perfect for Valentine's Day because the couple is actually on a date, and the premise sounds so cute. I think they're kind of like competing against one another to see who can get a date first, and then of course the two of them end up having a romance in the process. But my only hesitation with this is I think it's the second book in a series, and I haven't read the book before this, so I don't know if it matters. I don't really want to read the book before this, but that's my only hesitation with picking that one. You with a View by Jessica Joyce has a couple on the cover, and this one was also on my radar as a romance I really want to read soon. It's a new addition to the cart, and I just really want to read from Jessica Joyce. She's the author of The X-Files, which I heard so many great things about last year, but I wanted to start with her debut, and this one sounds super cute. It is like a rivals to lovers road trip kind of romance, and the storyline sounds really fun. So this one's definitely on the radar, but I do feel like it would be a good one to save for summer if I don't get to it now, just because I don't know, like road trip vibes. The setting based on the cover seems kind of summery, but it does have hearts all over it, so I'm like, that is so cute for Valentine's Day. Definitely an option though. Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams is her latest release. Really want to read this one. It's book 3 in the Win and Rome series, and I've heard great things about it so far. I wasn't necessarily super antsy to pick this one up even though it just came out, but I don't know, after hearing great things about it and it fits the prompt, we have so many great options. I think I'm gonna have to cap myself after this one, but The Happily Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez is book 2 in her Backlist series. I read the first book in that series last summer and loved it. I've heard the best things. I've heard that this book in the series is the fan favorite, and it just sounds super cute. I think it's like One of Us is famous trope, and Valentine's Day would be a great time to read this one. So I'm gonna have a lot of trouble deciding because we have so many for this prompt. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put back 2 of these books though. They're the only 2 on the list that I had a little bit of a hesitation with. The first one being You with a View, just because the setting feels a little bit summery and the road trip vibe. I don't know, for some reason that feels like a fun storyline for the summertime, so I might push this one back a little bit. And then The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, I don't know, I just haven't read the other book in the series, so I want to do a little bit more research to see if I need to before reading this one, but I feel like it would be fine either way. I'm just going to put these 2 back since I have so many good options for this prompt. Maybe if these two work for a different prompt, we'll pull them, but I already have a lot to choose from. Honestly, if I could just make this my TBR for the whole month, I would be so happy, but unfortunately, that's not the way the TBR jar works. I'm gonna put back the Happy Ever After playlist just because I feel like there are other books that we're feeling more appropriate for Valentine's Day season. This one I feel like will be a solid romance to read anytime. I don't know why, it's just the vibes I'm getting from it, and I feel like this could work for other prompts as well. It's a book and a part of a series. It's one of my favorite authors, so I don't feel too bad about putting it away for now. I feel like there's definitely a 100% chance I'm gonna come back to it soon, so I'm gonna put this one back on the cart just for now. I will say my only thing with Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood is that she has a new release coming out in February, which is called Deep In. That book, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna want to read it right away, but it is a sports romance. It's like a swimmer and a diver, which kind of feels like it would be good for summertime as well. So I'm like, do I push back her new release? Do I go ahead and read this one? I mean, I could read 2 Ali Hazelwood books in February, but I don't know. I feel like the hype is gonna get to me and I'm gonna have FOMO and really want to read Deep In right away. It also could be that Deep In doesn't get great reviews, and so it makes me want to push it back a little bit. I just don't know how things are gonna go, but that's my only thing. I feel like I'm only gonna want to read 1 Ali Hazelwood book in February if I do, so I'm gonna put this one in the maybe pile for right now. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I do really want to read this one in the winter time, but it is one that I feel like I could push back to March. I feel like it'll still feel wintry then. I'll add this one to the maybe pile as well. Heartstopper Volume 3. Really want to read this one. I feel like there will be other prompts that I pull that this will work for. I did really want to read it in February though, because it just gives me romance, Valentine's vibes, and I love this series and they're such quick and easy fun reads. I'm gonna put this one in the yes pile. The Favorites by Lane Fargo is, like I said, top of my list. Absolutely have to read this one in February. Like, even if it doesn't work for a prompt, I'm gonna find some way or another to get it read next month because I've just been hearing the best things about this book. The tropes of it are all of my favorite tropes. This one's going in the yes pile for sure. Beg, Borrow, or Steal was one that I was initially fine with pushing back, but I've been hearing great things about it lately. I don't know. I'm not in a huge rush to read it just because the When in Rome series hasn't been my absolute favorite. So this is one I'm fine with putting in the maybe pile too. So I think that does leave us with 2 books, The Favorites by Lane Fargo and Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I feel like I'm just gravitating more towards The Favorites because, like I keep saying, it was so high up on my radar for books that I want to read ASAP. This was such an unexpected new release because Lane Fargo is the author of They Never Learn, which is like a more gory, dark academia, and this is a childhood friends to strangers to lovers sports romance, so complete opposite end of the spectrum. But this is all my favorite tropes, like I said, everything I love in books. People have been saying that it's like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, so I just cannot wait. I feel like I'm gonna love it. I've been hearing rave reviews for it. This is what I'm gonna pick for prompt number 1. It was top of my list, so fitting that it's the first book I'm picking. I think that was the most books I've ever had to try to decide between for a prompt. That was a tough decision, but at least I have a lot of good options on the cart. Prompt 2 is a book set in a small town. This could definitely work for a lot of the ones I was also just deciding between, and I'm very much feeling a small town romance. I think most of my options are on the other side. Check and Mate, I don't know where this is set, but I don't think it's like small town romance vibes. Doesn't really say anything about the setting, but I feel like this setting isn't something that's very relevant to the story, so I wouldn't necessarily put this in like the small town romance category. Beg, Borrow, or Steal, I do know is set in the small town of Rome, Kentucky, so this could very well fit the prompt. Definitely a good option. And I feel like All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata is set in a small town as well. It says Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Yep, it says after our main character breaks up with her longtime famous musician boyfriend, hiding out in a small town in the mountains might be the perfect remedy for a broken heart. Perfect. So these 2 work very well for the prompt. There's definitely a lot of other books on the cart that I am excited to read, but I don't know, these two feel the most fitting for that prompt and the two that I am the most excited about. So my only thing with Beg, Borrow, or Steal, which after reading the back this kind of confirms it for me, is I was thinking that these books definitely feel more like summery and summer coded. The other two books have taken place in the summertime, I believe, and the back of the book does say the last thing Emily saw coming was Jack's return at the start of the summer. So it sounds like this is gonna take place in the summertime, but I do know they're both teachers and part of the book takes place at the school where they work, so that wouldn't necessarily be summer unless it's taking place while they're on summer break. Oh, this does have dates as headers and it says June. Okay, I think that kind of confirms for me that I want to push this one back a little bit and wait. If it happens to work out perfectly for another prompt, I would love to read it, but I don't know, it was giving me summer vibes, and what I've seen by flipping through the book and reading the back does confirm. And I know All Roads Lead Here takes place in like a snowy mountain small town, so it's very fitting for winter and very fitting for the prompt. I haven't read an MZ book in a while, but she is the queen of slow burns. I actually read a different MZ romance last winter from Luke Off With Love and really thoroughly enjoyed my time with that one. So I really hope I love this one too. I know our main character ends up having a romance with her landlord, and I believe it's single father trope, so very excited for that and very excited to dive into more from Mariana Zapata. So far we are getting some great prompts and we have great options for them. Prompt number 3, a book with a title that has an emotion. Heartstopper, is that considered an emotion? I feel like that would count, like something that's heart-stopping is definitely a feeling. Happy Ever After playlist, happy is an emotion. I feel like that would work better than Heartstopper, but I don't know. I'm not seeing too much more on this side. I'm looking up if Heartstopper is considered an emotion. Heartstopper definition. Something so frightening or emotionally gripping as to make one's heart seem to stop beating. I don't think that's the case for the context of this book. I think it means Heartstopper in a good way. Why is Heartstopper called that? Well, maybe I do need to look at why is Heartstopper called that, because nothing else is really giving me the answer. Oh, here's a quote from Alice Oseman, the author. Because it's called Heartstopper for a reason. It's all about those little moments in a relationship where your heart is beating and your feelings are so big. So I would say that definitely refers to emotions. And I really want to read this one a little bit over the Happy Ever After playlist. So I'm going to say that counts. My TBR video, my prompts, my rules. I cannot wait to continue on with Nick and Charlie's story and their romance. These books just touch on such important topics and they are just the sweetest coming of age novels. They are such a serotonin boost, I always say. Like, I'm smiling so big while I'm reading them, and they go by so quickly because they are graphic novels. And this one, they do go on a school trip to Paris, which as an American, it's just so crazy to wrap my head around being able to go to a different country so easily for a field trip. I'm like, I don't even think we went out of the state for any of my school field trips, so that is super cool and perfect for the season of love. Prompt number 4. This might be my best TBR yet, fingers crossed. I hope I don't jinx myself. A book with a map. That usually is a fantasy book, but you know what's funny? On the cover of Heartstopper, they're literally holding a map. It's fine. Okay, You With a View is a road trip story, so maybe there is a chance that there is a map in here, because I believe they're trying to take the same honeymoon trip that their grandparents took, but I don't see a map. The Frozen River, I do think this one has a map, and definitely wanted to read this one during the winter time. Yes, this one does have a map of the setting. It takes place in Maine, and this is one of those books that I just keep seeing everywhere and I hear good things and I was just drawn to it. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. It is a historical fiction and all I really know is that the main character is a midwife, but I'm actually planning a trip to Maine for later this year, so I feel like anytime I see something Maine related, I'm just drawn to it. So that's kind of why I picked this one up. So fitting that it has a map in it, that definitely could work for this prompt. The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, I doubt has a map in it, but this is one I really wanted to read early this year. Yeah, it doesn't look like there is a map. The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary is a new addition to the cart, and since they're on a road trip, oh my gosh, this book came with, I'm just not noticing, I bought this book secondhand and it came with a bunch of super cute stickers and a bookmark. Oh my gosh. Well, that was just the best surprise ever. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Okay, well, I'm gonna see if this has a map in it because, like I was saying, it's a road trip book. Oh, she dedicated this to her bridesmaids. That's super cute. So I think part of this revolves around a wedding. No map, but that was such a fun surprise to open. I had no idea there was cute little stickers and a bookmark in there. I wonder if Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors has a map, because I know our sisters that we're following in this book are from different cities around the world, so I don't know. Maybe there could be some kind of map. Nope, there's not. So I think our only option is the Frozen River, but I'm not mad about it at all. Like I said, I'm going in a little bit blind. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Don't know much about it other than our main character is a midwife. It's historical fiction. It's set in Maine, and I believe there's like a murder mystery element to the book. So really hoping I love this one as much as everyone else seems to. I've seen so many great reviews for it. Okay, prompt number 5. Have a friend choose. Okay, that's fun. I guess what I'll do is take a picture of the cart and have them pick one, or maybe I should pick a couple options and say which one should I choose. I think I might do that because I feel like it'll be hard to get all of my books in a picture for them to choose from. So I'm gonna pick a few options that I was really wanting to read this month and see which one they pick. Check and Mate is still calling to me by Ali Hazelwood. I feel like this would be a great one to read in February, so I'm gonna have this be an option for them to choose from. How to End a Love Story is a new addition to the cart, and it's written by the screenwriter for Emily Henry's adaptation of the People We Meet on Vacation movie, which is what really drew me to this. I feel like this one could be a good one to pick, but I feel like I also have heard that it's more women's fiction, which I would rather have a romance. So I don't know, I might try to find something else for them to choose between. I kind of feel like I should do something similar to Check and Mate. Maybe like another YA romance. We have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is one of my 25 books I want to read in 2025. That could be a good option to put these two against each other. I almost want to save this for the end to let them choose between whatever doesn't get picked for other prompts, but then I feel like it might take them a little bit to respond back. So these were two I was also trying to decide between earlier. The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, maybe if I matched that up with Better Than the Movies, also by Lynn Painter, that could kind of be a fun pairing. You With a View was definitely on the radar for this month, but it does feel like it would be a good summer romance. I don't know, do I throw the Happy Ever After playlist into the mix too? I think what I'm gonna do, looking at these 4 books, the 2 I feel the most excited about and feel like I want to set aside to be able to choose for another prompt are Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood and the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. So I'm gonna put those 2 back on the cart, and Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter and The Love Wager, also by Lynn Painter, I feel like would be a good matchup to ask a friend to choose from because they're by the same author, but one's an adult romance and one is YA. And I wasn't necessarily like dying to read these in February, but I would be very happy reading either one. So I'm gonna take a picture of these 2. I might send it to a few friends in case one doesn't reply right away. We'll see whoever responds the fastest. Or if they all respond at the same time, we can take the majority winner. Okay, I'm gonna say for a video, pick which book I should read. Okay, I sent it to a few friends, so hopefully someone responds by the end of the video. If not, we'll put in the results sometime later. Okay, I think we are on prompt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. A book that includes letters or journal entries. Let me check Check and Mate first, although I doubt it would. No, it doesn't look like it. I was thinking maybe she would have like a chest journal or something. You With a View, I feel like might, because this book is kind of like about social media and documenting this road trip. Oh, it does have letters between the grandparents. Okay, that could be a very good option. The Happy Ever After playlist, I believe they exchange text in this book, but I don't think there are letters or journal entries. Yeah, there's lots of text I see, but no letters. The Story Life of AJ Fikry definitely might have letters because he runs a bookshop. I think he just writes book reviews, so that probably would not count for this prompt. Tell Me Lies was on last month's TBR, and I didn't get to it, but for some reason I feel like she might keep a diary in this one. Or maybe not. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis might have something like that, since it takes place in the 60s, and she's a scientist. I feel like she would have to keep notes on her work. That one doesn't have any either. I'm surprised. You with a View might be the only one, which I am really excited about this book, but after reading a little more into it, it does seem like it would be better as like a summer romance. I don't know. It is super cute with all the hearts on it, and the storyline sounds so fun. So I'm gonna go with You with a View for this prompt. It seems to be the best and maybe only option on the cart that has letters in it. But this story did sound super cute. Our two main characters were rivals in high school, and they end up reconnecting when they find out their grandparents were engaged to one another. They end up going on a road trip with his grandfather coming along, and they're taking the route that the grandparents had planned for their honeymoon, which just sounds super cute. I feel like with the grandpa tagging along, it's going to be a lot of tension too, and the fact that they used to be rivals. This one was feeling like a summer romance, but I don't know, all the hearts on it is very Valentine's Day coded and super cute. And I did want to read from Jessica Joyce, since she's the author of The X-Files, which I heard amazing things about last year. I definitely want to start with her debut, and I am excited to read this one. Okay, prompt number 7. A book with the letter F in the title. Finale by Stephanie Garber could definitely work, and this is the final book in the Caraval trilogy, which I was really wanting to finish out. This wasn't necessarily like top of my radar for books I wanted to read soon, but I do really need to finish out this trilogy because I want to move on to the spin-off series, which is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And this one does have a heart on the cover, so that's cute for Valentine's Day. Even though there's not really too much romance in here, it's more YA fantasy. I've had a great time with this trilogy and do really need to finish it out before I forget everything that happened in the first 2 books. I'm gonna see if there's any other options though. We definitely could do the Happy Ever After playlist as well. And The Storied Life of AJ Fikry would be a good one. I think I'm between these 3. There's a few other books on the cart that have an F in the title, but I feel like these 3 would be the best options. The Storied Life of AJ Fikry would be a good option. It is a short book. I've heard great things about it. I know it's about this grumpy man who runs a bookstore, and it's by Gabrielle Zevin, who wrote Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is one of my favorite books. So definitely would like to read more from her. Happy Ever After playlist. I feel like I've gone back and forth with this one a few times. I'm gonna put this one back because I'm feeling more excited about AJ Fikry than this one. And Finale, not that I'm not excited about it, but I don't know. I loved book 1, Caraval, in this trilogy. I really liked the second book, but I didn't love it quite as much as the first one. So it didn't make me like super anxious to continue on and finish out the trilogy, but I know I need to. I just hate the feeling of it being incomplete. February might be a good time to read it, but I feel like AJ Fikry is more likely to get read just because it's super short, and I have heard so many good things about it. So I think I'm gonna make this one the book that I add to my February TBR for the prompt of a book with an F in the title. I also know this one was adapted into a movie too, so I would love to read it and then watch the movie after, and I again cannot wait to read more from Gabrielle Zevin. Prompt number 8. A Goodreads Choice Award nominee. I feel like Check and Mate and Lessons in Chemistry both were Goodreads Choice Award nominees. I'm gonna check and Mate first because this is my final chance to put this book on my February TBR. How to End a Love Story also I see on this list. When I search it initially, it does say that it is, but then I can't find anything else. Oh, here we go. It was the winner for readers' favorite young adult fiction. Perfect. That is what I'm picking for my final prompt. Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. I know it is her first YA ? I've heard some iffy things about that. Romance that I'm very excited to read. I've read everything from Ali Hazelwood except this book, and I know I need to. I've heard kind of mixed reviews about it, but I know it's a romance between two chess players, which sounds very fun and intriguing to me. So I feel like I'm gonna like it. I love everything that Ali Hazelwood has ever written. I like that she's branched out a little bit more recently. Even with her new release coming out next month, I feel like I'd be totally fine to push back deep end a little bit, or even more fine to read 2 Ali Hazelwood books in 1 month. We'll see what happens. I'm just gonna do whatever I'm feeling when it comes to her books, but I am really excited to read this one. It was on my radar for Valentine's Day for a long time, since last year, so excited to finally have it on my TBR. So a little bit of time has passed. I still have not heard back from any of my friends that I sent my poll to on which Lynn Painter book I should read, but I was texting with my brother about something else, so I was like, I'll just send him a picture and see which book he would pick. And I thought I knew for sure which one he was gonna go with, but he ended up telling me to read The Love Wager, which is not the book I thought he would pick. My brother went to film school and he is currently on a career path to try and become a movie director, and he makes short films, so that is like his hobby, and he loves movies. It is like everything. So I'm like, I'm so shocked you didn't pick the book about movies, what the heck? And he's like, well, send me the synopsis for both of them. I don't know, I think he was thinking The Love Wager 2 would be good for Valentine's Day. So after reading both of them, he's like, oh yeah, definitely go with Better Than the Movies. And while I was filming, I actually got a comment on my 25 books I want to read in 2025 video, and this person commented and said to read Better Than the Movies, and I feel like that's a sign. So this is the book I am going to go with since it is on my 2025 TBR. I feel like there's no better time to read a rom-com than Valentine's Day as well. So if something changes and all of my friends that I sent the poll to are like, no, definitely read The Love Wager, then maybe I'll switch things up. But for now, I'm adding Better Than the Movies to my February TBR. So the 8 books on my February TBR are Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, You with a View by Jessica Joyce, The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon, Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman, All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, and The Favorites by Lane Fargo. So I am really excited about this TBR. I feel like we have such a good lineup of books. They're all books I was so excited to read, and books that fit the season and the time of year perfectly. So I feel like that's the perfect recipe for motivating me to get through my TBR. As always, comment below. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what's on your TBR for February. If there's anything you'd want to see a reading vlog for, let me know down below. If there's any books you think I should definitely pick up first and prioritize, let's chat all about books in the comments. If you're still loving the TBR jar, helping me pick out my reads for the month, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the red button down below to stick around. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you so soon in my next one. Bye guys.